let's try to understand how we can compare fractions. And let's try to see how these fractions surprise us while we compare them. You wanna know? Watch out. So here I am with some strips and some waffy for me. Alright, now we're going to see how we can compare fractions. Now remember, in fractions, the bigger the number in the denominator, the smaller the size of it is. Let's try to understand. Confusing, right? Don't worry, we'll try to understand it. So, in the first strip, I'm going to divide the first strip into 2. Just 2. Okay? So, I'm going to cut them like this. And I'm interested in this wonderful portion. Clear? How do I write this fraction down? I will write it as हम दो थे, दो में से एक. Clear? So this fellow's name is what? Half. Okay? 1/2. Now see the size. Right now we are only focused on the size of the piece or size of the tukda. The size of the tukda will decide whether the fraction is big or small. Clear? I repeat, the size of the tukda will decide whether the fraction is big or no. So, look at the size of it. So, as I've cut my strip, I'm going to cut one of my waffy too. Right? So, I take one waffy. I'm going to cut this waffy into 2. You see, I get to eat this bigger piece. Right? I'm going to keep the remaining. I'm going to show you this is the piece I'm going to eat. Big piece. Okay? Now, let's continue. Next, I'm going to divide this strip into 3 parts. Clear? So, 1, 2, and 3. Clear? And I'm going to take one piece of these 3. What is this shaded portion called? It will say that हम 3 थे, 3 में से मैं कौन हूँ? मैं 1 हूँ. Correct? Now, see the size? Small, right? When it was half, the size was big. And suddenly, the size became so small. So now tell me, 1/2 is big or 1/3 is big? 1/2. So if I have to keep it like this, 1/2 box 1/3. Which one is big? 1/2 will be big. You'll open the mouth at 1/2. Why? See the size. The size is big. Same way, what about my waffy? How much will I get? I'll take the second waffy and try to divide it into 3. So, there's one piece. There's one piece. And so, if you see, I get only this much. When I had it into half, I got such a big piece. And now the piece became small. So, which is big? 1/2 or 1/3? 1/2 is big. So, you understand? In fractions, the smaller the number in the denominator, the bigger it is. Clear? Let's try to understand the next one. You see, this is all I'm getting. Now let's cut the next strip. Let's cut the next strip into 4 parts now. So I have 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. Now I'll color one portion of it. And so how will I write it down? हम 4 थे. 4 में से मैं कौन हूँ? मैं 1 हूँ. Can you see this strip? How tiny it is than 3? So, if suppose you get something like 1/3, who is bigger? 1/3 or 1/4? What will be the answer? Who is bigger? 1/3 is bigger than 1/4. let's try to understand with my waffy. I'll take my waffy and I'm gonna cut it into smaller pieces, 4 pieces. Okay, so when I cut it like that, I'll get 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now let's try to compare with the pieces that I had earlier. Look at this. When I had half, I had such a big piece. Then, when I had 1 upon 3, I got a smaller piece. 1 upon 4 is such a tiny piece. Let's try to see the next one and see how little I get. So let's divide this into 5 pieces. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And let's try to take one piece from here. Okay, what will this one piece say? हम 5 थे, 5 में से मैं 1 हूँ. Now tell me, look at this tiny piece. It is so very small. Smaller than 1 upon 4. So if suppose I have 1 upon 5, okay, and 1 upon 4. Tell me who is big, 1 upon 4 or 1 upon 5? 1 upon 4. The smaller number will always be bigger in fractions. Okay, let's see the last one. Okay, the last strip over here. Let's try to divide this into 6. Before that, let's see how much waffy I get. So here's my waffy. Let me cut it into 5 equal parts. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now let's see how much do I have. Well, that's not right. I got way too little. Look at how much I got. Look, when I had half, I got so big a piece. Then when I got 1 upon 3, a little bit smaller. 1 upon 4, more smaller. And look at that, such a tiny piece when I divide it into 5 parts. What will I get when I'm going to divide it into 6 parts? The tiniest piece. Oh my! Let's divide the next one into 6 parts. So, let's take this strip, divide it into 6. There it goes. Let's shade one piece. How will I write this? हम 6 थे, 6 में से मैं 1 हूँ. Now, you tell me if I have to keep 1 upon 6 and 1 upon 5. Who is big? Look, it's right in front of you. You tell me who's big. 1 upon 5 is big or 1 upon 6 is big? 1 upon 5 is big. 1 upon 5 is bigger than 1 upon 6. Then, what about 1 upon 6? Okay, and 1 upon 2. Look at their sizes. Look at it. Obviously, who's big? 1 upon 2 is big. Did you see that? It's so surprising. But in fractions, whenever the numerator is 1, okay, and the denominator is of a different number, remember the biggest number is the smallest, and the smallest number is the biggest. And when I cut it into 1/6, look at how much I got. Just a little bit. But anyways, I'm gonna eat that little bit. Did you understand? So what do you want? You want 1 upon 6 or you want 1 upon 2? I'm so sure you will all go for 1 upon 2 and not get fooled when I say 1 upon 6. Because if you want 1 upon 6, you will get just a small tiny bit, the tiniest bit of all. Alright, so I hope you've understood how to compare numbers. The biggest is the smallest. The smallest is the biggest. So, even if I have 1 upon 2 versus 1 upon 100, you tell me which one will be big? Naturally, it's still going to be 1 upon 2. The smaller the number, the bigger it is going to be. Clear? Do not forget this. This is a little tricky, but you should remember this in your mind, and it's going to be very simple for you. Okay, now let's try to see the last kind of fraction. Those are mixed fractions. Come on, let's try to understand them.